This is the one of the first HK406 podcast, and I'm here with Cameron Kraft, and I'm Rory.
Yo.
Obviously, I'm Rory. So we're going to be talking about just some of the stuff that is quite recent to us, such as like the Bojack series, which just ended recently, not too long ago, and Cameron and I have watched it a lot, and it's become a pretty important and cool part about our life and our friendship. But we're also going to be talking about a game called Fallout New Vegas, which is something I introduced Cameron to, and it's personally one of my favorite games, and it's become Cameron's most recent obsession. And we're gonna get Cameron's opinion on some music. I'm not real in tune with music, so he's gonna be talking.
It's more
about,
gonna be like I'm gonna be asking him questions about like what an average consumer might think compared to what I think, because I can explain more to that the farther we go into this.
Yeah, I'll just be kind of the outside opinion about music because I listen to a little of everything. So anyway, I think we're gonna start with Bojack, and Cameron, what's your opinion about the ending? Because the ending, some people think that episode 15, where Bojack supposedly dies at the end after his weird delusion, his weird dream. They think that's the real ending, but then some people are really disappointed to see that that's not how that ended.
Okay.
And instead, episode 16 is how it ended.
So before we start talking really about Bojack, if you haven't watched Bojack Horseman, I would really recommend it. It's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen, and I've recommended it to quite a bit of people, but everybody gets turned away because it's like an animated show. But I think it's one of the best shows, animated or not animated. It's one of the best shows there is. So the last season was at first a little questionable for me because I thought it was going kind of slow, but it had a lot of meaning, and I don't know how to explain the meaning, but it was pretty much him going towards death, and then how not wanting, he did not want. I don't know how to explain this, so I'll just let.
Well, I thought the first part of season 6 seemed like Bojack was really beginning to turn his life around. He was making a lot of growth, which we saw throughout the 4th and 5th seasons where he was growing, and it seems like he was finally at that point in season 6 where he could be happy because he had the whole teaching job, and he was enjoying life. But then that bombshell of I don't remember the dear lady's name, but she calls him and says that hey, there are reporters here talking to Penny, and that kind of starts the whole down, Bojack getting real messed up. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going with this, but I thought the beginning of it was real good, and then the last part just really showed Bojack's decline as all of his stuff from his past comes back to haunt him. But now I don't remember what the original question was.
So there was a scene in the last episode where he was sitting on the roof with Diane, and that was probably the most the best part of that whole season.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Not a lot of people seem to understand it really,
but
it was how Bojack and Diane first started talking. Was Bojack found her on top of the roof at a party, and that's where she is now at this wedding.
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't understand unless they watched it either. So, I don't know. We recommend this. And now let's switch over to other TV shows.
Oh, the next biggest one on Netflix is a show called Big Mouth.
And that's not even a good show in my opinion.
I agree. I don't find it to be a very good show. Now, if you haven't seen Big Mouth, it's basically a show about these kids who are in middle school that are hitting puberty, and in my opinion, it's kind of gross because it talks a lot about masturbation and all the normal stuff that comes with puberty, being awkward and having all these weird emotions. And I don't know. I found it was funny. I felt the first season was funny, but the next season after that, it got really political. And I'm not stating a political opinion either way, but I don't necessarily enjoy watching political stuff in TV shows, especially a show like Big Mouth, which is not, has no no place to be political because it's just a stupid show about kids hitting
It's a
puberty.
stupid little show that just like it just took a turn that it shouldn't have for being what it was. I feel like it should have just stayed as a comedy, to staying away from all the, like the political agendas and all of that. But for what it was, I personally didn't enjoy it. Uh, I have a question for you, Rory. So I watch shows on Netflix sometimes that are originally in other languages, so I have to have it uh describing or whatever,
Yeah, the
scribing
subtitles at the bottom.
subtitles. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I'm not. I've nothing. I'm not nothing against watching foreign films on Netflix. I
So,
mean, like, it's basically the same. Like, I watch like Dragon Ball or My Hero Academia, and I don't usually watch the dub because I find the dub to be very cringy. I mean, it's cringy either way, but yeah, I have nothing against people watching foreign films. I mean, I don't, other than Dragon Ball and stuff, but that's more of an anime. But I don't know. I guess I don't really enjoy watching those shows on Netflix because when they're talking, it doesn't match. I don't know. It's just I
yeah, whether they're dubbing over it with a English voice,
yeah, it just doesn't
the
seem like it
voice doesn't
matches.
match, or if they're just subtitling, it's just weird.
Yeah,
As but I'm starting to do that, and I think it's pretty enjoyable. So this show where they like dub over, they have English voices. It's called Money Heist. It's pretty popular as a show. I just think it's like I thought at first like it was really weird, but after I started this kind of enjoying the show for what it was, I really started to enjoy it. There's this like popular movie that just won like a nomination called Parasite. It's supposed to be like a horror show or whatever. I don't know. I think we should watch that one of these days. So Rory was talking about earlier how he got me into this game, Fallout New Vegas.
oof. I love Fallout New Vegas.
And there's a problem because at first I wasn't going to start playing it, and I shouldn't have started playing it. Hear me out. Um, it's highly addicting. I just started playing it, and I was like, I'm not going to play this because I'm going to be spending hours. I'm going to be wasting hours playing a game. They're not really wasted now since I really enjoy it. But at first, I'd be like, I'd be wasting time. This is pointless. So he got me into this game. I got it, and it now is one of my top games, and I don't know why. So uh, I just want to know why Fallout is so good to Rory. Like, why does he think the series is so good? Except now, because into Fallout 76, that's not really.
So I started with Fallout 3, which was a great game. It was a great game, but it didn't have the RPG elements like the original Fallout's, which I haven't really played. But Fallout 3 was good, but Fallout New Vegas, and the reason why I love Fallout New Vegas is that it has those RPG elements. Like, one of the most interesting things I find is that the courier, which is your player, has all these choices, all these paths. He can be this bad guy, he can be this good guy, but not only that, but he has to pick these factions, who's going to take Vegas. And I always found that really fun and very entertaining because I'd like to place myself in the world and be like, hey, who do I think has the right to Vegas? Who would be best for Vegas? And that's what I always found amazing about Fallout New Vegas. And the DLC are even better because the DLC focus more on the courier himself. Like, I really like Honest Hearts. It's the whole tribal thing. It deals with religion and the tribes. I like the Sierra Madre because it's all about greed, but it's also kind of a horror thing. But there's a lot there that I love about Fallout New Vegas, and I can't really summarize it all in one thing. But I guess if I had to, it'd just be like, I love the RPG elements. I love the world. I love the apocalypse world. But I guess the thing is, like, Fallout doesn't, or at least Fallout New Vegas doesn't dramatize the. I guess it does dramatize, but it doesn't hide the dark fact that it's an apocalypse, right? Like, there's dark things that happen in Fallout, and I think I love that too. Is just the darkness in Fallout. But yeah, that's why I like Fallout New Vegas, and I really enjoy it. and I know Cameron, he's playing it a lot. I mean, he doesn't take it as seriously because his character looks like a
It's,
weirdo.
yeah,
But
we don't want to go into all the specifications because I just built my character as jokes. But you can't really restart the character, but that's fine for what it is.
it's a good game. It's a really great game.
So, well, so how would we recommend this to a new person? Because at first I was very skeptical, considering it's an older game, and it's gonna look pretty bad on my PC no matter what, because it's an older game, and I don't want to go through the DLC process when I don't even know the game. So, how do you think you would get another person into this game, considering it took me quite a while
So
to get started?
the biggest issue with trying to get somebody to play Fallout New Vegas is that it's unless you own an Xbox or a PC, right? Because there's people that own PS4s and stuff. They're not going to be able to play it. What do you need?
Never mind. Keep speaking.
But so the first thing is being able to even play it. Fallout New Vegas is a very unoptimized game. I love it, but it sucks. It's not very well optimized. So you have to have, to begin with, you have to have a decent PC to play it or an Xbox. But, not only that, but it's an old game and it doesn't look very good. And a lot of people are not attracted to it not looking very good.
I'm showing him a little sticky note behind the cameras right now.
I have my Xbox on and it's making static noise. So we're turning it off.
We have like this weird little setup in my room with 2 microphones. Hey, hopefully it's working out. Hopefully.
But if I were to tell somebody how to get into Fallout, I'd just say just play it. Ignore the graphics. Just play it. Right? You will find yourself sinking into it. At first, it might be hard. Like I know the stat system can be kind of overwhelming for people that don't usually play RPG games, and you just got to play it, make your mistakes because there's a lot of choices to make, and it might feel overwhelming. But just play it the first time, get the hang of it, and then start over and play a new character with a goal in mind.
Yeah, so personally, the game's really buggy and has a lot of weird things, but it doesn't turn away from like the game aspect. I think it's one of the best games. And how old is it, Rory?
Shoot, I don't even remember when Fallout was made. It was like maybe 2009.
That's a long time ago.
I mean, don't quote me on it, but I think it was maybe.
Yes,
I think it was because Skyrim was released 2 years later by Bethesda.
I could always pull it up, but I think it's one of the best games for how old it is. But otherwise, my best game is, I don't know, my best game to compare it to. I can't really compare it to because they're completely different games. But like, my favorite game of all time is Rust. It's a pretty toxic game, and just playing Fallout, having a whole different like experience. I would say it's pretty good for what it is, even though the graphics might not be all there, might be a little buggy here and there. I have to save a lot because I'm always scared that it's gonna like crash or do something stupid. But that doesn't really turn me away from it because that's how like good the game is. Because I can go like hours without problems. I know I just got like, so a few days ago when I was playing it, good thing I save a lot because I got stuck in a rock.
Yeah.
I like bugged out in a rock, and I was like, what? I don't know how this happens, but I guess all games have their flaws. And such an extensive game as Fallout 76, being made so long ago, finding little flaws here and there, it doesn't even like turn me away.
Might want to be careful because you just called New Vegas 76.
Oh yeah,
you might get killed.
Fallout 76. So Fallout New Vegas is my first Fallout, but I've heard Fallout 76 is not prime Fallout, like the complete opposite of prime time Fallout.
I'm not gonna shit on anybody for liking the game because I played hours and hours of it too, just because it's a Fallout, right? I think as an actual game, it's not very good, but I played it because it's Fallout. There's not a lot to say about 76. It's a buggy mess. I'm sure it's all over the internet. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm disappointed by it. That's all I'm going to say.
Rory, what are your top games otherwise from Fallout right now?
So I don't play anything else but Fallout. But if I were to had to pick some other top games, uh, obviously it'd be Fallout New Vegas is number one. I enjoy Fallout 3, but I wouldn't put it in my top five. Uh, I wouldn't put Skyrim in my top five. I put Oblivion there, and Oblivion is honestly like not as good as a game as Skyrim or even Morrowind, but it was my first Elder Scrolls game, which is why I'm putting it up there. Uh, I like Modern Warfare 2, which is not even in the same genre as Fallout or Oblivion. But I really don't play a lot of video games. Like I play a lot of video games, but not a lot of diversity. So I can't really even make a complete list of games if I'm being honest here.
I
Um,
I, I thought you would put Fall or Skyrim in your top five because you would always used to play that.
yeah,
And
I
I'm
really
surprised that's
love
not.
Skyrim, but then I started playing Fallout,
Oh,
and Fallout was just so much more deeper than Skyrim. I really like Skyrim, and don't get me wrong, it is like one of the best games, but it's just
so
I don't get it's captured by it.
so I've never played Skyrim. Do you think that should be a game that I also adventure in the future?
I think you should definitely give it a try, but it's not as deep as Fallout. It may be both from Bethesda, but it's not as deep as Fallout.
Won't they be having a new game come out in the future?
Oh yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to be coming sometime in the not the near future, a pretty far distant future, but I'm excited about it, but I'm a little scared because they really fucked up Fallout 76, and I really hope that the next Elder Scrolls isn't ruined by that. I hope not. I
I don't
really
know.
hope
I feel
not.
like Bethesda lost a lot of their reputation, so if they don't pull it back and
Well,
make a
it was funny because they were like, for before 76 release, they were like one of the best game companies out there because they were seen as, pro player. But then 76 released with all the stuff that they were saying they weren't going to do. Like they were promoting this, uh, player one like whole campaign about how like single player games are still awesome. And then they released 76, which is a multiplayer game. But here's Bethesda being anti microtransaction, and then they add a bunch of overpriced microtransactions into 76, and they just shit all over the community.
I heard Red Dead Redemption 2 also got a lot of backlash for the same thing, but they actually made a good game compared to Fallout 76. That's kind of what I've
So yeah, I've haven't played a lot of Red Dead Redemption. I own it, and I think it's a really pretty game. Uh, I could never get past the beginning tutorial part because I get bored too quick. But yeah, there was this whole thing about gold bars being overpriced in the multiplayer. I'm not too sure because I didn't look into it and I haven't played it. I just remember hearing that. Um,
did you did you hear about GTA 6 coming out?
Grand Theft Auto 6.
They're making another one for it's been a while since GTA 5
And it's still popping.
and it's still like the top. What was that noise? It
I don't know. That was weird.
was like a pop.
It wasn't popping. I don't know
Uh
what that was.
uh
Uh,
so our power strip setup down here in my room. A little
I hope
scary.
that wasn't. We have a power strip on a power strip.
Yeah,
And it's a really ancient power strip, so
yeah. That's okay.
we have a lot of technology plugged up right now. So
What if it's the old audio interface that I gave you? Full send. Let's keep
full
going.
send, just catches fire.
Eh, no, I don't even know where my fire. I think I know where my fire extinguisher is in my house, but we have
Yeah.
water all around us. Put it in electricity.
Yeah, that
Good combination,
might
right?
make it worse.
So I have some questions about the music industry. So I'm kind of a producer slash artist. Um, I have to admit I don't make good music yet. That's fair. I'm still learning. But I do know a lot about the industry. So I want to hear. So Rory, say I was signed. Not gonna happen. Never gonna happen. So say like someone offered me like $500,000. Get signed for 5 years. they get 20% of my royalties. Do you think that's worth it?
How much did you say you signed on for?
Like 500K.
500K. I don't know, right? Because it really depend on how much you're making through the music, right? I don't, like I said, I'm a complete outsider on this. I have no idea about
Actually, let me reiterate the question. Do you think the music industry is bad? Do you think artists that are signed, do you think it's always a bad thing? Like, would you be turned away if they weren't independent?
No, I wouldn't be turned away if they weren't independent. I'm not really understanding the question necessarily.
That's fair.
I have nothing against the music industry. I think it's really cool that people can get paid to do what they like, and if that's making music, that's cool. That's one of the perks to being in America. But I don't really have anything against the music industry. I don't really understand it very well. I have artists I like, but
So, I'm going to ask you about the royalty rates. So, I think I've told you this before, but how much do you think an artist gets played per pay or per play on Spotify?
I couldn't tell you.
So, say I got uh, like 10,000 streams on a song. How much do you think I should get paid for that?
Like 10,000 streams.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even tell you like how much you'd make for just one stream. So
But how much do you think I should get paid for 10,000? Like, just throw out a random. This is a random number. What
just
you
like a random number.
Yeah.
Well, 10,000 streams isn't a lot.
No. But you
know,
should still get paid for it, right?
Maybe like 100 or so, a couple hundred maybe.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Is that pretty accurate? Is
a
that
lot of people overestimate what artists are getting paid. So the royalty payout is average royalty payout because they can always change whether they're ad-based listeners or paid listeners. And I think Spotify is constantly still in the losing money right now. They always release their reports, so go look at it. But their average is 0.003 per play, and 10,000 streams. That would mean you'd make $30.
Yeah, it's
So, considering YouTube used to be like the top for everything, it pays a lot more than YouTube would. But Apple and like Napster and Tidal pay a lot more than Spotify, just because Spotify has ad-based listening. So not all their users have to pay like a $10 a month fee. They can listen to it through ads. So do you think the artist should really get penalized from that? Because, well, I guess it's all, they can give you whatever they want to. You're putting their music on them.
yeah. So I'm a pretty big free market guy, and I feel like it's really if they're working with this one, like say they're working with Spotify, they have chosen to work with Spotify so that they have agreed to get paid whatever Spotify is going to pay them. Do I think it's not enough? Maybe. But there's probably a lot of people that want to make music, put music on there, and they can't pay everybody an incredible amount, especially because 10,000 people listening, like you say, they'd make like $30 for 10,000 views. That's not a lot. That's really not a lot of people, like a lot of views. And I can see how it would be pretty hard to make a living as a musician unless you're like really, really, really good. But
that's why I feel like a lot of people are getting signed these days, because they have no other option to stay independent. Because if they're staying independent, most of the time they can't even cut back enough to pay for their general living. But I would rather support an independent artist that could grow and get there by himself. But a lot of the time, that's why a lot of like bigger artists start doing like more tours, start selling merch and all that kind of stuff, because that's where like the streaming royalty is kind of really bad. So even like selling songs. So whenever you sell a song, they take 30% of the song sale. So my song's 99 cents. You buy the song, I get 60 cents of it. And then tax also takes away 20% of my 60 cents. So, but it is what it is. You just have to get a lot of people to follow you and listen to your music. If you don't make good music,
seems like there's going to be a lot of grinding to get anywhere in the music.
Okay.
Which kind of, now knowing this, because I didn't really know any of this, I have a bit more respect for those aspiring artists. It doesn't seem like it's a real fun career to begin with. You really got to grind to get anywhere, especially if you're an independent artist.
What I feel like happens with a lot of artists, they start being a hobbyist, but then they realize that they can be a hobbyist. They either make great music and it just blows up naturally, or they have to take it the more business way and realize, like, I can be a hobbyist still, but I need to think of it like this is a product. I have to think of it like, I need to get this sold. I need to get it out there. I need people to listen to it, or else I won't be able to continue making music. And I don't know. It takes away a lot of the fun aspect of music.
Yeah, I think looking at it as a hobby is a good way to look at it, because it's something you can do on the side. You can still make a living working at working another job, but if you look at it as a hobby, you can continually do it and enjoy it, and then eventually, if you end up getting big enough, you can take it somewhere else. Speaking about that kind of stuff, one of the topics that we have here is something involving skill development. Like Cameron said, he's aspiring artist himself, and he's not. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He's not super good now.
Yup.
I mean, there's potential, and he's my friend, and I hope the best for him. But Cameron knows very well that it is a grind to get anywhere. And I seen that he spends countless hours working on projects, and he restarts them, he tears them apart, because it's a hard job. And like he says, he has to listen to his own voice over and over and over again. And then he's constantly seeing these imperfections, which personally I think if the person didn't listen to it 1,000 times, they wouldn't even notice the imperfections in his voice in the music.
See, I think that's the hardest part, honestly, because when I'm recording, I had to listen to the same freaking sounds over and over again. You first enjoy it, but then the more you listen to it, you're like, I don't enjoy this anymore. And I that's like every song, because I can listen to a song and stream it 1,000 times on repeat. And I obviously wouldn't like it after I played it that much, but it shouldn't take away like how a song might be good. But the thing about me listening to your own voice, when you listen to your own voice, you sound completely different than what you actually sound like to yourself.
Yeah, you really do.
Because even Rory was recording his voice last night for something else, and he just listened back to his voice. He said to sound good, because it actually did sound good. But it probably sounded pretty freaking weird to him.
It did sound pretty weird to me. I didn't recognize... Like, I knew that was me, but my voice sounded a lot more deeper, personally. But I don't know. I think your biggest critic is yourself.
Yeah.
And like, what we're talking about, Cameron listening over and over again to himself, he's going to be the biggest critic of himself. He's going to look at this and think this is bad, when somebody else might look at it and not see those kind of criticisms that he has.
And I think that's hard because I have singles that I haven't posted and that I've finished that I just haven't posted because I've listened to them so much and I'm like, these aren't good anymore. I just need to I just need to start releasing stuff and just being like, hey, it's showing me progressing, because in reality, I have gone a tiny bit better from when I first started.
He's gotten a lot better. It's been a big increase in development.
But now I've also just started creating more beats and that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's really got me farther than just recording my own voice over beats.
But you don't have to stick with one thing either.
No.
Like, you could discover that you're good at another thing too while, pursuing your hobby.
See, the thing about this being a hobby is I can do whatever I want. So if I don't want to record my voice one day. If I don't want to like rap or sing over like beats one day, just go over, create beats. Because I have no expectations. Like, I'm not big enough for anybody to really care. And I think I'm at the prime time to do whatever I want, to find my niche, to find my genre. Then this full send.
Just full send.
We are 31 minutes into this podcast.
That's pretty crazy. It doesn't feel like 31 minutes.
This is our first podcast, and
I know it may sound kind of like we're all over the place, but I think we've done pretty good with sticking with one subject at a time.
Maybe. We went over to... Let's actually think about this on the podcast. We went to shows, Bojack Horseman, to video games, to music.
I think we've had some smooth transitions. This is obviously our first podcast. We're both kind of nervous. We both are open to criticism, right? Because if you have an opinion of how we're having the commentary, and you think we should do something differently, you should let us know, because that's how we grow. That's how we get better at something. The biggest issue is me is trying to stay on subject. Like I'm overthinking stuff, and then I get lost in my own thoughts while I'm speaking, and then I don't remember where I started.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of other subjects when we're talking about a different subject.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too, is how can I transition this over to another subject? And I feel like we shouldn't do that. I feel like, honestly, because that makes it sound like we're rushing stuff.
Yeah. I feel like we'll get better. We'll 100% get better, no matter it's what you do. If you do things more, you get better at them. So any criticism we are open to. We're just going to kind of have fun with these podcasts, this podcast and every other podcast. And we just hope someone enjoys them, because if we're making it for at least one person, if one person enjoys it, I think it's a win.
Yeah. I've enjoyed it, so it's already a win.
Yeah.
I found this to be surprisingly fun. So
maybe in the future it'll just be better and better while we're still having fun.
Yeah, I think we should do this. More. This is fun, and I don't think it really matters if anybody else likes it, as long as we find it fun.
Yeah.
But we do want criticism, because we want to improve.
So is our name going to be HK406 Podcasts?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we have that HK406 channel just sitting there, so
that we haven't done with. So, you want to end it off?
Yeah. I guess we can end it here if we want to do some outro. Thanks for listening to our podcast. I know it's been kind of all over the place, and we're both inexperienced and a little nervous.
I love you.
That's Cameron saying he loves you. He does that all the time to people, just random people. He's a loving person. But yeah, so I guess this is going to go on the HK406 thing. So I guess our podcast will just be HK406 Podcast. Mm-hmm. So thanks for listening.
All right. Bye. Wait. Before we end it, I was just about to end it. Go check us out on all of our socials, our Twitter, our HK406 Twitter will be a link in the bio, because, our YouTube, cool. It can start growing, but YouTube, it doesn't really matter these days. I don't know. That's a different topic for a different time. Go check out our Twitter, link in the description, and then go check out our personal Twitters, also link in the description. It's been HK406. We out of this. Woo.